Hello, beautiful soul family. This is Prasiddha, the Kundalini Yogini, and today I am going to be doing a very sacred, special story time with you about my experience sitting with the powerful plant medicine of Huachuma, also known as San Pedro cactus. So last week, I was just coming home from a beautiful retreat and plant medicine ceremony experience down in Baja, Mexico. We were outside Todos Santos at this incredible property where we stayed for the majority of the retreat, which was about 5 days long. I was there with a group of all medicine people, of all space holders. It was a really special space that I got invited to through two of my best friends and soul family members. And everyone there was not, just in different places of their journey. We were all people that were very deep into our work, very deep into the path, and all facilitators for other people. So it was quite the opportunity to get to receive, to be a participant, so to speak, and also be with a group of really evolved, dedicated peers. It was actually my first retreat as an attendee in over 8 years, maybe 9 years. So it was just so needed, so healing and rejuvenating for me. And today I'm going to show you some clips of my time down in Mexico, as well as tell you the powerful revelations and experiences that I had on Huachuma. So before we went to the retreat, the experience, we were on a dieta. We were refraining from, hold on, Kashi, come here. We were refraining from any meat, which obviously is easy for me. I'm still a vegan. Any stimulants like caffeine or any other drugs, no alcohol, and also no sex, even self-pleasure. So there was 3 weeks we had of all of this, of celibacy, of no caffeine, all vegetarian. We also we decided to do no processed foods just additionally. So we were eating and cooking a lot at home. It felt so amazing. And that was all leading up to the beginning of the retreat, which all of that was also followed during the retreat and after for the next few days to follow. Just to set the stage a little bit on these practices. It's very important to prepare before and after ceremony and not just in it. And that's something to look out for if you are looking to participate or sit with any medicines. That dieta and that space and reverence created is really, really important. The body and the mind and the spirit need to be prepared and open and ready to receive in the right ways to really have the best experience with the medicine. So for a little context, Huachuma is an indigenous plant to the Americas, and it is a cactus, also called as San Pedro, that has been used by the shamans of Central and South America for centuries. It is a medicine that is considered a grandfather spirit and is a medicine purely of the heart, of Anahata. It works on the heart, through the body. It's, very different from something like ayahuasca in the sense that ayahuasca, one, is a female spirit, a grandmother spirit, and two, it works a lot in the astral, right? It's very purgative to the physical body. It is very visionary. Huachuma, much less so, much more somatic through the body and through the heart. Huachuma is something that I knew I would get the chance to work with for many years now, but as you guys know who have been following me for a long time, I am not one that takes plant medicines lightly. I do not abuse them, and I very infrequently use them. So it's not something that I feel is required, that I seek out, that I attach onto. But when I first heard of Huachuma many years ago during COVID, I felt a deep knowing that I would be with that medicine. And I've never had that feeling before with any other medicine. So fast forward 5 years, I get invited to go on this retreat, and it was actually gifted to me. So it was so divine how it came into my field, and quite literally by zero force or cause of my own, was gifted to me in such a pivotal time of heart healing for me. Just to open up a little bit, this past end of November, I went through one of the hardest breakups I've ever been through, and it was really, really shocking the way that things ended, and it was very, very hard for me to comprehend, to make sense of, to let go of. You know, I thought this was my forever person. I had created an entire future with this person, mapped it all out, and I had to let all of that go in the blink of an eye. And then Huachuma, you know, came in 3 months later to really help me in completion of this cycle of this heart healing. So I feel so immensely grateful for my experiences with it. It was profound, and it was so, so, so loving. You know, you may have a lot of questions, so I'm very open to questions. Please let me know down in the comments, and I can make an additional follow-up video answering kind of FAQs on plant medicine and Huachuma. Just to preface, right, every person's experience is very different with plant medicines because they are medicines. They work uniquely in the individual for the medicine that they need. And so I'll share my own experiences. I don't want you to take it as a generalization of how it may be for anyone else. But for me, Huachuma was home. Huachuma was home. The Quechua word Huachuma actually means no head. And couldn't resonate and love that energy more. I am such a being of the heart. I am such a deep feeler, and my entire work, devotion and dharma, is the path of tantra, working through the spiritual heart. So I felt so ready for this, so open and receptive to it, and ready to have the medicine come through in whatever way that it wanted to show me and it needed. So I'm gonna read you guys some of my experiences and just share some of the realizations in the medicine I received on Huachuma. So our ceremony started sitting all together with an incredible medicine man who has been doing this for, I think, almost 20 years. And he's such a pure soul, such a pure heart, such a genuine Shapibo. We sat in ceremony in silence. We put our intentions in, and then he came around and gave the Huachuma, which is like a drink. The cactus is powdered, and you take it like a drink. It's very bitter, and you know, he really feels into the medicine of what dose is right for each person. So everybody gets a different amount based on just like the energetics, the energetic read. I got a really sizable amount actually, which I was totally fine with. I did not have any nerves going into it, but I felt so ripe and ready for it. And my intention was really in the first ceremony to face what I needed to let go of and to be able to move through it with grace, with love, come back to myself, know how to move forward. And then I also had a second ceremony 2 days later, which I will share about later in the video. So here's my musings coming off of Huachuma. Thank you, dear Huachuma. You and I were forged of the same stuff. You were home for me. I realized I literally am a cactus, built to endure more than most species, forged in the desert, holding medicine for the people. My endurance, my capacity, my resilience is a miracle. After drinking, my Huachuma did not hit me immediately, and the medicine man came by and asked me if I wanted more and gave me more to drink. After that, it really kicked off for me, and I started to experience Huachuma. As I said, it's not that you blast off. You don't leave your body. You're very much in your body, in the world around you. So it's a really beautiful experience. And because, again, it's no head, right? No head medicine, it doesn't really allow you to intellectualize, which I think is so potent and powerful, right? We know at the spiritual and consciousness level, the mind is quite useless when it comes to understanding the conscious reality. So if you try to start creating stories or get into your head about it, it really brings you back into the heart, into the present, into the body. So I really went deep after that second dose, and it was my ex that really opened the doorway for me. That pain, that absolute heartbreak. And I was crying and crying and crying for quite some time, seeing our memories, seeing the pain, the love, the loss, and ultimately coming into a deeper understanding of everything that occurred. I was really shown the intricacies of what occurred between us from the zoomed out, the neutral observer perspective. I really saw the why. The why. I could understand from like God's eye view the love that was underneath all of it, even the harm, even the pain, even the things my mind could not understand. I really, really got to see it truly and understand it truly. I saw his fear, I saw his love for me, and it was a really big acceptance for me of things as they are, not trying to change them, not trying to tell a story about it. But when I was sitting in that really thick pain, that the deepest pain in me, Huachuma was like, there's nothing you need to fix. There's nothing you need to fix here. There's nothing you need to change here. There's nothing you need to do. This is perfect. And those that truly love you will love you in all of this, And you can love yourself in all of this messiness. So all that was really emptied out of me. It was like this big purge of my really primal rejection and abandonment wound that I've carried in this lifetime. And, I saw pain with my father and the traumas there, and I had a deep understanding of realization that every emotion comes from love. And yeah, we say, right, like love is all. But I tangibly experienced that even the greatest transgressions that I have experienced in this lifetime from others, the greatest harm, the greatest pains I've endured, were still out of love. Either a love for self from that person, like a love for continuing the self, a love for life, wanting to live, wanting to exist and survive, or even a love of me in the way that they could comprehend, right? In the greatest way that they could comprehend. Now, that doesn't excuse or condone actions that are not in harmony, right? But it was an understanding. It was such a peace that finally washed over me at this much deeper level. And after that big purge, I came out and I thought I was only crying for a few minutes. My friend who was there with me, Savvy, she was up on the roof and she told me I was there for hours. And she said I was getting circled by condors. And I thought, wow, that's actually really cool and beautiful. And I remember sitting up, coming out of that pain, that release, and I just felt so relaxed and at ease for the first time in many months. And we fast all the morning of Huachuma, so we fast and stay in silence the whole day. That was how our ceremony was facilitated. We were outside all day as well, no technology, no phones, of course, and we started at 9 a.m. So by around 1:30 or so, we finally got to have fruit, and they brought everyone fruit. We're still in silence, and I remember they brought the fruit after I came out of that, and I started eating the fruit, and it was like the most incredible experience. And I was like, I have a mouth. I remember, like, I have hands, I have a mouth. How beautiful, the intensity of this human experience. Then I also had a moment where I got to swim in the pool, and I was in the water, just in so much flow and bliss through my body. And my inner child was playing, giggling a ton. And then, to me, the kind of coolest experience that I had with Huachuma happened. So hold on to your seats for this one. After I got out of the pool, I got some water, I changed, and I went back to my little spot, my mat, where I was posted up all day, my little zone in the sun. I went under the blanket I had, and I was in this kind of little cocoon, and I started experiencing one of the wildest experiences I've ever had. It was so intensely energetic and ecstatic and orgasmic. For hours, I laid there literally being rewoven, restitched from the ground up. Every single cell of my being was being rewoven in gold and in pure light, pure light. Again, no thoughts were happening in my head. I did not have any thoughts, any stories, any cognitions. I was just feeling it happen to me physically. The energy was so intense. My body was literally moving, convulsing, feeling like I was having like 1,000 orgasms in all these different places of my body, sometimes all over my body at once, sometimes in different chakras. And as this was happening, I started to see literal codes, I guess you could say, in light, in golden light. I was seeing all of these patterns, these geometries. I saw a language that I do not recognize. It was like a combination of Sanskrit, Arabic, Hebrew, and I was seeing specific words and phrases come up. All these designs and codes in light, as I'm feeling each one of my cells being literally recreated, rebirthed in gold and light. And as this is happening, it's revealed to me who is weaving me, who is doing this. And even though, Huachuma, the spirit of Huachuma, of course, is holding the container for you. It's the medicine, right? It's holding the space. Who came in and was working on me was actually Ma Durga, and Isis. I physically saw their faces. I physically saw their forms. I saw Aset, Isis, in her glory as this magician, this witch weaving me. And I saw her transform into Durga with many faces. And I realized, and they were showing me, that they are actually one and the same being. They are one spirit. That is something I never knew or have heard of from anyone else. And I saw it so clearly that I was really in awe in that moment. And they were just holding me in that space, weaving me, every cell being recrystallized, rewritten in gold. It truly is, there's no way I can convey the feeling, the intense energy, the bliss, the ecstasy that I was in while that was happening. Just witnessing it and how the light was filling every single corner of my body and being. And as I was starting to come out of it and I knew it was complete, I was shown that, like, literally my body is not the same body I have had. I have been completely recrystallized, rebirthed in this light, in this gold. The capacity for the light I can hold is beyond what I even thought previously, beyond what I could even comprehend even still. And it was just she really showed me who I am experientially, not with words, not with stories, but I felt to the nth degree who I really am at the core through experience, knowing my own container, my own possibility, the light that I carry, the love, the capacity that I hold. And it was a wild kundalini that continued. Even now I still feel it when I share about it, when I talk about it. I'm still feeling that energy, pure beingness, pure presence. So yeah, I'm just coming back to my notes here. And I saw that I could change, even in that moment, as I'm being literally rewoven physically at the cellular level, DNA level. I could change anything that I wanted to about my body. Like, I could really change it, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to change anything. And it was such a beautiful moment of that realization, of acceptance of my form, of who I am, of just, knowingness. I wanted to be in this one, right? I wanted this one. And man, I never felt really, guys, like I have a physical body, but I definitely, certainly do not feel like I have one now, or like I'm bound by one in the slightest now. I'm so much in that energy body, that pranic body, that bliss body, Anandamaya Kosha, so much more now rooted and grounded. I also saw, while that reweaving was happening, this is something really interesting. I also saw that as the reweaving was happening around my womb, my uterus, I saw that as women, so any female body listening to this, as women, right, we literally hold the DNA of every lover we have ever experienced or been with, right? Like we physically hold their DNA. That is a biological fact. But as this initiation, these codes were being put into me, I saw that they also got shared to every being who has been in me, whose DNA I still have a connection to and hold. And that light, that transformation got shared to all of those lineages too. And that was really mind-blowing for me to realize, one, the power of the womb, right? The power of whom we entangle with, and the connection and power that women have to change generations. I saw it at such a deeper energetic level. Yeah, I really felt that my own responsibility for every occurrence in my life, including the suffering, right? Towards the end of the day, I finally kind of got up out of my cocoon, and I made it up to the roof, watching the sun set over the ocean. It was such a beautiful land we were in. We were like in this desert, right? But on the ocean. And watched the sunset, took it in. After that, I spent some time in the hot tub in the jacuzzi, just in the warmth in the water, and so much love. And I was really riding it out. It took me through the whole night. So Huachuma lasts a very, very long time. It lasts 14 hours on average. Mine was closer to 18, 20. I didn't even really sleep that night. I was never in deep sleep. I was always kind of conscious, but drifting in and out. So it's a really crazy experience. And that was just ceremony 1. So the day after that, we had an integration day. So no more medicine, a day of a lot of slowness, stillness, just staying at the house, being in the sun, being in the water, good conversation, journaling, reading. And I was really just integrating a lot, right? A lot of what I had received and released in the first ceremony. We got the opportunity to go to a temescal that day, which I went to, and it was so powerful to going into that, traditional sweat lodge and sitting with the directions and the elements. And that spirit, that energy is very grandmother, right? You're in the womb, you're in pure darkness, such intense heat, and sitting in that womb space. So it was a really, really beautiful juxtaposition, and also like complementary medicine to the grandfather direct energy of Huachuma. So I got to do that in between. Hold on, Kashi. I got to do that in between ceremonies. And then day 2, ceremony 2. So let's get into that. All right, so ceremony 2, I had a very different space because of everything I had already journeyed through and purged. And ceremony 2, my intention was joy, lightheartedness, play, inspiration, oneness, connection. And as I was sitting, when we were first drinking at 9 a.m. again, immediately Huachuma told me, this is going to be the energy, that what you feel today is going to be the energy of your next era, like your next chapter of life. And I was like, okay. So I wrote here, my intentions have been fully self-actualized. And so it is. Joy, bliss, peace, self-knowing, oneness, play, and inspiration. Most of all, understanding. The understanding I had been praying for months and months and months, that I feel like I started to taste in ceremony 1, finally fully integrated. I can't tell you the sweetness, the gratitude, the relief of that in my heart. At the end of this relationship that I experienced last year, my only prayer was just help me understand. In Conversations with God, one of the quotes says that understanding replaces forgiveness in the mind of the master. Meaning, like, forgiveness isn't even required when we are really in conscious awareness, right? When we can really be totally in that expanded oneness, we understand we don't need to forgive. There's nothing to forgive. So that's that understanding that I'm referring to, that I was praying for. And then I feel like finally completed in my second ceremony. I felt so much love and understanding, and I felt like I could finally lay that relationship to rest. I brought with me something very special, an item that he had given me in our relationship. And I brought it with me. I even had it with me in the first ceremony, but I still didn't feel like it was time for me to do anything with it, or, like get rid of it, give it back to the earth. But in that second ceremony, midday, I felt like it's time. And I felt so much love and understanding that the reason I couldn't return it or do anything with it before that was because it had to be given back in the same love it was given in. And it took me until I could finally get into that understanding space to have that like motherly, unconditional love again for that being, for myself, for the occurrence of everything that happened, to be able to give it back, to return it, to lay it to rest with the same love. So in that love, in that understanding, I got to bury it under this yellow hibiscus plant. I laid some flowers on the grave, and I finally got to let it go. It was finally complete. And it couldn't have been any other time. That was the time. After that, I was in just such a joyful, playful energy. I was really just tapped into pure presence, my inner child. I was actually also, I remember the only thing that was in my head, like the only thoughts in my head was Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, the mantra, for like 4 hours. Like I was just singing it in my head for 4 hours as I'm roaming around the earth, barefoot, walking in the sun, swimming in the pool. I played mermaids even, channeling my inner child, having so much fun. And many times I went up to the roof of the house where you could see the ocean. And all 3 times I felt this like pull, go to the roof, go to the roof. I went up to the roof and whales appeared. Whales started jumping and showing their fins. And I was like, oh, so you called me. That's why I'm here. And every time I went up, without fail, they showed themselves to me. And I was feeling so much entanglement with the whales. Also realizing what incredibly evolved beings they are, in that they're always sharing frequency with humans and with all life on earth. They're such shamans, such raisers of consciousness, truly. So it was such a beautiful, loving, joyful day to be in that presence of self. And one of the things I really felt was such a awe and pride of my own self, for how much I've journeyed through, for how much I've held, for how much I've endured. As I started at the beginning of this, it sounds funny, but I realized how much I am like a cactus. Like, I can endure more than almost any other species, almost any other thing. And I have such sweetness and medicine in me because of it. My capacity for love is the same capacity for enduring, for pain, for suffering, for holding all of that inside of me, and still having a totally exposed, vulnerable heart. And I just really could see myself clearly in that power. I felt so much of my ancestors standing with me, a lot of my angels and my guides standing with me and showing me like their hands on my shoulders, like, you're never alone, you're never walking alone, you have so much love and power behind you, you don't even realize. And one of the things I also realized, or I should say I was told by the medicine, was you can be in this level of samadhi, consciousness, presence, realization, bliss, anytime, any moment. You do not need the medicine, right? And I've always known this. That's why I told you I've never been someone to grab on to medicines or psychedelics as a need in my path. But it was such a confirmation. Like Huachuma said, the reason you're experiencing everything you are today is not from the medicine. It is from being in stillness and complete presence with the self in nature. You can access this anytime with the same formula. And that's something that I really wanted to convey to anyone listening. So, man, Huachuma was such an incredibly loving grandfather, such a direct but gentle healer, shower, revealer of self. I'm not crazy guru. And I think it is an incredible medicine for the world right now. I know I'm biased, but I'm a firm believer that the most important work we can do in the world right now is the work of the heart, the path of the heart, the path of the spiritual heart, of cracking open and open and open again to being who we truly are, to realizing who and what we truly are, to realizing and experiencing how intrinsically interconnected we are to everything, to one another, to nature, to this world, to this cosmos. And it happens through the heart, So Huachuma is such a gift, especially when it's facilitated by authentic medicine people and in safe and authentic spaces. That's obviously a very important thing to look out for. So yeah, thank you so much for listening to this. I hope that some of this medicine did something for you, even if it was just one little part of the story. I would love to know any further questions you might have about Huachuma, about plant medicines in general, integrating them into your life, which is also so essential, right, and important. So yeah, let me know about all that. Thank you so much for watching this, listening to this. I'm sending you all so much love, and stay connected.